What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for February 4th, 2024. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Sunday, a non-football Sunday, unless you count the Pro Bowl game. The first time since September, or I guess since August, technically, that we have not had a weekend without any football. Kind of lost. One more week left in the season, but I'm looking forward to seeing what the Eagles do this offseason. So more on that in a minute. As always, let's start with a recap of yesterday's question of the day. I asked, could the Sixers or can the Sixers win a title with Joel Embiid? 2/3 of you said yes, they can. The ones that were negative really went on. A couple people went on long rants about the state of today's players and lack of killer instinct and really went old man waving in a cloud on us. But for the most part, you do think they can win with, and I agree. I think it all depends on how they put the team together. Before we get into, I guess, some housekeeping things, might as well talk about yesterday's game because there's really not much to talk about. They were down 4 starters, including Joe. Tyrese was the only one that played, and he struggled. And they lost to the Nets 136-121. It just seemed like I was watching it. They got down early, and they just could not battle back. Every time they'd make a run, they just couldn't get over the hump. Like the Nets would make a big shot. They do play Monday at the Mavs, but I think they're at a key critical moment now in the season because Joe has a displaced flap, which I guess they classify, knee doctors classify that as a tear. And I know just from reading before, some doctors posted some things on social media and I saw some interviews. Basically, it depends on the severity of the tear. So whether or not the flap is displaced flap, like how much of a tear that I guess they grade them. If it's a complete tear, I think that's like worst case scenario. If it's a slight or a partial tear, it is something that could be manageable. And we're talking anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks and 4 to 6 months, depending on where it is. So they're still kind of, I guess, making a plan, trying to see what the best options are. And I think this is going to determine now where they go for the trade deadline. I don't necessarily, I read somewhere that they don't want to, or the rumors were that Daryl Morey does not want to trade the draft picks yet in the offseason. They are going to have all that money. They do need to re-sign Maxey. I know one of the guys that they were linked to, Zach LaVine, is out 4 to 6 months with, I forget. I think it was a knee injury. So at this point, it's do you just play out the string with Joe, see what happens, and kind of chalk it up? I mean, the bottom half of the East is competitive, so there's a chance they might not. I mean, I can't see them falling out of the playoff play-in. But, I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea to get a higher draft. I don't know what they're going to do, but I think the next couple days is going to be determined depending on what they plan. And then you got to take into consideration how much time is Joe going to need to get back into shape and whatnot. So this week is going to be huge for the Sixers. But I really think at this point, depending on how severe, and again, depending on how severe it is, I think you almost punt now and maybe even just hold him out the rest of the year, get him fully healthy, use the cap space you're going to have, those the draft picks, make some moves, and kind of just let the chips fall where they may for this year. And just kind of have your sights. Because I almost feel like next year was the year everybody was looking at anyway. This was almost sort of, let me take that back. I was going to say it was almost like a gravy year playing with house money, but you never know when you're going to get those chances. So the fact that they had an opportunity and a chance, you don't want to miss out on that. But I would almost say if it's anything more that, like, if it's something that can heal on its own or get surgery, I say just get the surgery and just, like I said, punt. But let me know what you think. 267-495-8531. Am I crazy? Should they just give up? Should they try to go all out? Let me know, 267-495-8531. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mont. Trying to get up over 100 subscribers, hit that next tier in YouTube. And while you're at it, buy some Girl Scout cookies. I know at this point, if you've already bought a bunch, you're running out. If you're anything like me, you have like one random caramel delight, and that's it. So go buy some more cookies. Everything you need to support Ella is in the description, the link. Follow it, get your cookies set up, and you will be good to go. You know who else is good to go? Philly Goat. Pitchers and catchers, all this negativity surrounding the Sixers and the Flyers and the Eagles. Spring training is one of those times where opening day baseball, everybody has hope. Everybody's excited. You got to believe that this is a year for the Phillies. They're favored to go back. They want to win that division. They want to get back to the World Series. And you got to believe. And get your Believe shirt from phillygoat.com. They have you covered for all your Philly sports-based apparel needs. Go check them out, and when you check out, use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off of your order. Get some shoes. I'm telling you, the shoes pair well with the T-shirts. You're going to be everybody's going to have these down on the boardwalk anyway, so you might as well be like everybody else. And this is one of those times where it's okay to follow the crowd because that's how awesome these shoes are. Go to phillygoat.com, get your Believe shirt, get your shoes to match. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off. And then, as I like to say, help me out, help them out, but most importantly, help yourself out or something like that. All right, Eagles have a new quarterback coach, Doug Nussmeier, who has over 20 years experience working with quarterbacks, both pro and college level. He worked with Kellen Moore in Dallas and helped with Dak's development. And if you look at how he played, kind of got him on track. So kind of like that as a coaching signing. I did read an article that, or it wasn't really an article, it was more like a tweet that somebody had put out that CeeDee Lamb said that A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and the Eagles receivers are going to really like Kellen Moore's scheme, which is good. I mean, and that's what they said in the interview with Kay Adams. Hey, let us be us and let us do our thing, or whatever they said. And apparently Kellen Moore will definitely design an offense around the skills that they have. So looking forward to what the OTAs and things like that look like. Again, we have one more week till the Super Bowl, but I want to see some glimpses and hear from Elliott Shores Parks what this offense looks like. Sean Desai, there's an article out yesterday about him, and apparently, and this totally makes a lot more sense and totally just pisses me off even more about the media and what they're trying to do with Nick Sirianni. But he was a great mind. He was smart, but there was a disconnect between the players and him. Like, he wasn't putting them in the positions where they needed to be. Wasn't necessarily taking feedback and really listening to his players. And they said that led to a division on the team, which ultimately led to Sirianni having to replace him. So, and I think the guys were trying to, and it was Sirianni trying to protect his coaches and the defense and really everything that was going on. But yes, Nick Sirianni hired Desai in the first place, but you got to think that, okay, this guy is smart. He would get it together. But again, Sirianni taking the blame for that and covering for his coach. And apparently it was so bad that they had no choice but to get rid of Desai when they did, which again, that led to some of the bad, poor play and just a change of scheme midseason. Obviously is, or maybe not a scheme, but I feel like when Patricia came in, though, they had no direction. But it shows what kind of person Sirianni is. He tried, and like he didn't have a choice. He didn't kind of rip him. He didn't come out in the media and blast him. He could have just fired him. He left him stay on. So it was sort of like, I don't know. I took it as he was basically the things that Jason Kelsey said the other day, organizational leadership, things like that, trying to hold people accountable. And Sean Desai was not accountable. So just an interesting little twist to the whole story. And Nick Sirianni's sticking up for his guys, but you know what? He's not a good coach, and he's not this, he's not that. I don't know. That just it kind of irritates me that, and I think that's probably what pisses off the media is that they don't necessarily, they feel they should know these things, and they're not saying it to the media. And I think the media gets mad, and that's where they start these stories. But enough about the media. I'm not giving names or anything like that. One positive going into next year on defense is Isaiah Rodgers, who was waived by the Colts after being suspended, or I think he was suspended right before he got waived, or waived right before he got, I forget, but it was really at the same time. But for betting on the NFL, including Colts games. Now, he came out on the Outside the Lines things and flat out said it was for family and friends who were in Florida where gambling wasn't legal. He took responsibility for it and said, you know what, it was stupid. And truthfully, he was, if you look at, like, I guess they went through and showed some of the things he was betting. Most of it were like $25, $50 same game parlays that people were doing just to try to get rich. And there was like one $1,000 bet that somebody put in. He said it wasn't him. It was for friends and family. He said it was stupid, took responsibility. And I feel like this could be the steal of last offseason for the Eagles. So having him come in and compete for a job, I like it. But, I mean, seemed like a good enough guy. And I like the fact he took responsibility for it and said, listen, this is what I did. It was stupid. I didn't really listen to the whole. I haven't listened to the article or the interview. Just kind of read some excerpts from it, but seems like a good enough guy. He said he knew it was wrong. He didn't think he was going to get caught. Which, I mean, again, I like when people are truthful and honest about it. It's refreshing. Like, yeah, I fucked up. I didn't think I was going to get caught. 99 times out of 100, most people know what they're doing is wrong. They don't think they're going to get caught. Got caught, owned up to it, and now the Eagles have a cornerback coming back now for next year who can compete at an area that they need some support in. Isaiah Rodgers was up and coming, young. I mean, he has tons of potential. I think he's on a 1-year contract, prove-it deal, and those are the types of contracts and things that Howie Roseman does that usually work. They didn't work out so well last year. So I like this. I'm excited for just all the thing. And again, I know it's the Super Bowl, things are winding down, and the stench of last year is still out there. But I don't know. I'm looking forward to next year. I like the move so far, and I'm starting to become bullish on the Eagles for 2024. Just sucks that we have like 9 months to go before we're back at it. You know, you don't have to wait for 8 months. Clashing Conferences podcast. Go check my boys out over there, wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. They've been doing a great job. They have stuff lined up for the playoffs. Word on the street is they are doing some draft stuff. Might be teaming up with them to do some things there, just because I like to do some draft previews and things like that. But go check them out. They're doing a great job over there. And if you are interested, I know that most of you are Philly fans, but if you happen to be either a baseball fan that's not a Philly fan, or like another NFL team that you feel passionate enough to talk about and want to be on a podcast, reach out to them. All the information is on their page, but they're looking to expand it to other divisions next year. So go check them out, or send me a DM or something, and I can get you in touch with my boy Steven over there. All right, since I'm so bullish on the Eagles, it lends itself perfectly to this day. And on this day in 2018, quite possibly the ultimate pinnacle of Philly sports hysteria happened as the Eagles beat the Patriots 41-33 in Super Bowl 52. By far the best moment of my fandom. I mean, I was looking back through my time hop, and just the confidence we had going into that game was just, even though we were the underdogs, and just thinking about what that meant to the city, thinking back, and I went through and I wrote, it was like, talking about this is more than a game. It's about family. It's about looking back at like my parents buying me those little football helmets out of the bubble gum machine. My grandparents buying me or giving me the Miller Lite handbooks out of the cases of beer. And just what it meant to finally be able to win a Super Bowl, and really like how it just, like I said, it was the best moment of my fandom in Philly sports. More on that in a minute. But there were just so many great moments from that game. The Philly special, the fact that Doug Peterson was like, you know what, fourth down. And he knew how that game was going. And that, I think, is one of the things that was often overlooked with Doug. He knew what was going on. He knew they needed to score points. And he knew they weren't going to be expecting a half or a tight end pass to the quarterback. And like the great, you want Philly? Yeah. If you see him mic'd up when he's like, Nick, I'm not effing around here. Corey Clement's catch, Zach Ertz on the fourth down, and then the catch and run where he dove into the end zone. Obviously, Brandon Graham's strip sack. Jake Elliott came up huge and clutch. Just the defense was just non-existent until they needed it, and which was basically the story of that team. Nick Foles winning MVP, 373 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a receiving touchdown. And he had an interception on a pass that, if you remember, they could have been up bigger in that first half. The pass he threw that was intercepted, that he threw down the sideline to Alshon, that Alshon caught and was falling back and bobbled, that was picked off. They were going to score another touchdown. Like, that was the only blemish on the defense that day, or the offense that day. Second half with Gronk just kind of going off. You knew that was going to happen. And I'll never forget the feeling when that Hail Mary was up in the air and just like waiting for like a pass interference flag or somebody to ridiculously catch it. And just like that 5 seconds or maybe even 2 seconds that you're just waiting and looking around and like not realizing what you just saw. And you're just like, oh my God. And then like the realization, like, oh my God, they effing just won the Super Bowl. And then trying not to wake up the kids. And then I will say, I remember I got the anger of all the years of being so close and not being able to win it, and being taking the brunt of Cowboys, Eagles, or Giants and Washington fans, and how many rings you got, how many of this. And like I remember going on Facebook Live and just being like, calling out all of them. Like it was weird. Like I was excited, and then the anger. I'm like, yeah. But ultimately, this day in 2018, the Eagles win Super Bowl 52. My best moment as a fan, 41-33, beating Tom Brady, and just an amazing. I don't even know what else to say about it, because it's still, I get so hyped up, and even though it's been 6 years ago at this point, 6 years ago. It's just, I've watched that game so many times. I can tell you where the commercials come on. I can tell you what Chris Collinsworth says, all that stuff. But this day in 2018, the Eagles win the Super Bowl. Best moment, hands down, of my fandom. But that leads to today's question of the day. And kind of shocking that the other day, 2008, was what everybody wanted to relive on Groundhog Day. Or I shouldn't say everybody, but that's where the majority went. So we're going to tweak that question a little bit for today in honor of the Super Bowl. And the question of the day, which championship was more meaningful? The 2008 Phillies or the 2017 Super Bowl 52 Eagles? And I could see this going both ways, because 2008 was the first one. You know what they say, you never forget your first time, and that was just a great time. But then the Eagles, like, it just hits different when it's football. But I'm really anxious to see which way this goes, because I could totally make the argument for myself that 2008 was more impactful and meaningful. So which one, and that's the key point of this question. It's not which is the best. Which one is more impactful on the psyche of the city? Was it the 2008 Phillies or the 2017 Eagles? Let me know. 267-495-8531. Get you in. Send a voicemail. Send a text message. Get your voice heard. Okay, finally today, we're going to finish with our Philly Sports Black History Month Spotlight. Today we are spotlighting Guy Rodgers. Guy Rodgers was a playmaking point guard from Northeast Philly High. Went to Temple, played there 1955 through 1958 under legendary Harry Litwack. Went to two Final Fours in 1956 and 1958. Finished third place in both of those seasons. They had after the semifinals, they had a consolation game back then. They did finish third in 1957 in the NIT. So just a solid run of Temple basketball. He graduated as Temple's all-time scoring leader. Excuse me. He's currently third behind Mark Macon, and surprising, Marty Collins is number 2 scorer all-time at Temple. Would not have expected to hear his name. But Guy Rodgers is still third. He was an All-American in 1958, second-team All-American in 1957, three-time Geezy Trophy winner, which used to be awarded to the best player in the Big Five. His number 5 is retired by the Temple Owls. You can see his number when you go down to the Liacouras Center. He was the 1958 territorial pick of the Philadelphia Warriors. Went on to have a very good 13-year NBA career. 4-time All-Star. Has scored 10,000 points. Almost 7,000 assists. Led the league in assists twice. Was second 4 times. Played with Wilt, Kareem, and Oscar Robertson. That's pretty good trio of players that he played with over the course of his career. He is in the Naismith Hall of Fame. He is in the Temple Hall of Fame. He is a Philly Sports Hall of Famer and just an overall legend. And again, you probably heard his name, didn't really know too much about him, but led Temple to 2 Final Fours. There are only 2, I believe, in school history. Unfortunately, John could never get them over the top. But Guy Rodgers, Hall of Fame person, Hall of Fame player, everywhere he went. Just one of the best to ever do it. Born in Philadelphia, Northeast Philly High graduate, and just one of the best to ever do it in the city of Philadelphia. So today we spotlight Guy Rodgers for his contribution not only to the college but also the pro game of basketball. On this day back in 2018, the Eagles won Super Bowl 52. The question of the day, and I am really looking forward to seeing how people vote for this, what game or what championship was more impactful for the psyche of the city? Was it the 2008 Phillies or was it the Super Bowl 52 Eagles? Let me know. 267-495-8531. Not your favorite, not the greatest, not the best, but which one was more impactful? And I really could see 2008 Phillies because it was the first one and it changed. The city needed that at the time. And it really sort of set in motion now. And it was just a part of that 20 year that we're currently in, like the 20 to 25 year window of, if we really think about it, like between the Sixers, the Flyers have gone to a Stanley Cup, Eagles, Phillies, we're in a golden era, believe it or not, of Philly sports. So which one of those championships in the past 25 years had more impact on the city? Let me know. Get your voice and your thoughts heard on anything about what the Sixers should do now at the trade deadline. Do you like Isaiah Rodgers? Do you not? Do you buy the Sean Desai stuff? What do you think about the new quarterbacks coach? Just get your voice out there. We will continue to monitor the Joe situation. I have a feeling we're going to hear some stuff probably today. Like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mott. Buy your Girl Scout cookies. Go have yourselves a Sunday. It looks like it's going to be another beautiful day. It might be a little chilly, but that's okay. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History. I'm Jim Montgomery. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.